feel a little
tight.
Yeah. Okay. What's up, everybody? This is G&Che. Welcome to Quarantine in the life of G&Che. So today we're going to talk about our whole moving experience, moving from LA all the way to Perth. We decided to start packing in July. We knew we were going to be super overwhelmed. Me and G are last minute people, and we tend to stress out
No, just you.
We tend to stress out and forget stuff and leave stuff and all that kind of stuff.
No, again, just you.
So that's why we decided to start earlier. So started off with a box a day, and it being quarantine, it turned into a whole claustrophobic situation because we couldn't leave the house as often. For me, I was just growing this baby in the space of more and more boxes. I tried to kind of zen it out a lot, continued yoga, continued my workouts as best as I can without allowing myself to be feeling crowded and claustrophobic.
I think the hardest part for me was the fact that we're still living in that house and we needed things, but we also needed to pack things so that they could be put into the container that was coming. We lived in a townhome, kind of a condo that was, 3 stories tall, very narrow. I was already feeling claustrophobic because we don't get sunlight like we do right here. We made the best. We cuddled up on the couch. We still watched our Netflix. We didn't have an ottoman, so we just used one of the boxes. Yeah.
Everything was everywhere. There was food stuff everywhere on the table that we still had to decide what we wanted to keep and not keep. We also had to think about all of the suitcases that we were packing because we weren't sure how long we were going to be living out of suitcases with all of this flying and being in Perth for how long. We weren't sure when our container was going to get to us in time, even though they tell us that it will be there in a month.
They lied. Lies and deceit.
So that was a lot.
We did a little yard sale without a yard. Shout out to all of our friends and family that came over and shopped in our living room.
It was pretty therapeutic, actually, when I think about it.
To let go of things.
Yeah, in terms of packing stuff, learning what we really did not need anymore and stuff, just letting go of things and learning what things are sentimental still. Learning about things that we wanted to use for so long that we did not let go of because we're definitely going to want this in our new space, for example.
It was almost like we were shopping again in our stuff, I remember this shirt.
However, the process of packing, first of all, I think that we had a shit ton more clothes than we did any piece of furniture. But I think the hardest part of moving was getting all of the necessary things organized, like the container, the movers.
So the containers are huge, if you guys don't know what those are. We're not talking about Tupperware. We're talking about a container that holds all of the things that you put in your house. Man, when it showed up, remember when it showed up?
Yes, we were freaking out because G was like, I don't think we will be able to fit all of this stuff in a 20-foot container. I think there's like a 50-foot and a 20-foot, and we went with a 20-foot.
I thought we needed a 100-foot. Anyway, all of our stuff ended up outside on the freaking street, and I know everyone was driving by what is going on? Because we had enough stuff. It looked like we were in a mansion, but this is a 3-bedroom, 3-story condo, and I did not realize we had so many things, which is probably why I felt claustrophobic for the last 4 years living there. We have a lot of great things, but dang, man, we really lived in that place for over 7 years.
He was stressing out about it not fitting into the container, and I was like, no, it's gonna fit. And every time he doubted it, I was like, no, don't fall into that doubt. It's gonna fit, it's gonna fit. And everything ended up fitting in the container.
To the brim, though.
To the brim, which was great, which is what I would have hated it if, I would have hated it if we had half a container left over. So we could have gotten the movers to come in and just completely packed everything for us. That would have cost us an extra arm and a leg. So that's why we chose to do all of the boxes ourselves. I highly doubt I'm going to do that again in the future, but it helped us out a lot to save us like $1,000. Not a lot, but
$1,000 is a lot of money to save. When you're talking about moving from not one house to the other, but one country to the other, I'm glad that we saved what we saved because we got hit with a bunch of other fees and craps that we have to talk about later.
Funny things that happen I don't even think it's funny, actually.
Yeah, I was like, funny.
Funny, but not so funny.
So, it's not funny.
Okay. Container comes, we only had 2 hours, okay? Which obviously went over time, so we're stressing about that because it cost us more money afterwards. Movers took a lot longer to pack everything into the container. That was also extra money. And I wasn't supposed to be there that day. We had a discussion. G was like, you're gonna be out of the house. I'm gonna handle all of the moving. I just realized that there was a lot of things that I did not itemize because I had to like write everything down and take pictures of like boxes so that we know what's on there, because I actually have to give that to the moving company.
We just underestimated what really needed to be done. I really did not want you, one, around a bunch of strangers. I didn't need to be around strangers either.
During COVID.
But we're all covered up with our masks.
Yeah.
And then I have you with child trying to carry stuff, and she's stubborn as hell.
About, I want to say, an hour and a half in, I felt my first round ligament pain. I guess that's what it was. I didn't really know what it was at that time, but I felt like I got winded. It was like this pull in the bottom of my belly. And I heard some women talk about it and talk about it being painful and stuff. However, for me, it felt like I just overdid an ab workout or something like that. But at the same time, I think I was also dehydrated. I didn't drink enough water, which is so important to do, especially when you're moving around so much. I mean, it was literally nonstop the moment they came in there. And the whole focus was, let's get everything out in the most organized way possible, in a timely manner. All of that kind of took its toll. So that was really hard for me. That was my first experience of round ligament pain.
And Dad over here, I'm thinking, are you going into labor? Should I rush to the hospital?
He was like, sit down.
Sometimes when you care for someone, it looks a little more aggressive than you want to be. You're just trying to show care. But mothers to be, please look that up and make sure you don't overexert yourself doing either the workouts or moving if you're moving, or any kind of extreme movement, because that pain was real for her. And I literally had to say, sit down.
Like, my demeanor, I move really fast without even thinking about it. Even when I get out of bed, for example, I just move very quickly. I'm not really a slow, careful mover.
It was good that we got everything done. I mean, that took a little bit of, wind, and she did take a break. But there were so many little problems that happened, and we just woo-sawed the whole time. It happened, it worked. We sat down and watched the truck drive away. Then we go inside of our house to kind of like, all right. And then we realized there were like 3 other things that did.
Oh my gosh. I sat back on the floor after all of that, and I looked up, and there was a piece that meant so much to me that a friend of ours got. I literally wanted to cry knowing that we left it there. It was just, guys, we have never done this before.
That's true.
It was just so many ups and downs.
Never been pregnant, never been in a pandemic, never had to move to another house, to a bigger place, to another country.
Right.
We never had to organize so many things. So I did ask you to look, but I should have helped you.
It was fine.
It was not fine. We left our thing. It wasn't fine. That's the problem.
Oh, that part.
That's the part we're talking about.
I'm gonna blame it on pregnancy brain.
Every time she forgets something, she blames
That's
it on.
That's a real thing.
I didn't say it wasn't, but you can't blame it on everything. Anyway, the point is, we sat and watched the container drive down the street, and it was really therapeutic, but also
it was like a hit of reality. Like, oh my God, we're really doing this.
It really made it real life. Like, our stuff was gone, and going to Long Beach to get put onto a ship, which is a whole other episode. That's where our stuff was going. So it felt good to let go of things. It felt good to say goodbye and actually get excited for it to arrive in our new home. Moving out of our old place, which was still like this precious condo to us, we didn't think it was a good idea to sell our unit. I didn't want to lose that investment, right? So
not during a pandemic anyways.
Right. We have our realtor and friend, Erica, and who's a really talented songwriter that you've been working with before.
Yeah.
And then Erica, you hooked us up. Erica helped us,
shout out to Erica Taylor.
Yeah, Erica helped us get all the paperwork signed, and everyone moved in. And so to get it right, to get it just right, we thought we should have a handyman.
Yeah, there was lots of stuff in the house to get fixed that we didn't realize that we had to prepare for. Yeah.
And we didn't want to tape things up and just botch things up and give it to them. Like, So we had him fix all of these things. One, we had him take down our walk-in wardrobe, which was like a huge room full of all of her clothes. And like maybe one pair of shoes of mine.
Shut up.
So much stuff. Like he really did a great job all by himself. Painted things. We had water damage and he fixed it and scraped it down and repainted and oh man, it made it really look great for our new tenants.
So once we had everything moved out, I decided to do a yard sale for all of the items that we didn't bring with us that we felt was still very valuable to sell. Yard sales are really underestimated. Sometimes we think like, oh, let's just chuck that, nobody's gonna buy it for that, etc.
I'm like that. I always just want to get rid of stuff.
And you're not the only one, and I was really surprised because a lot of people came through. We made quite a bit for a yard sale. I kind of organized it where different people came at different times because it was important to still be safe with COVID and everything. And whatever was left over, we passed it on to our special girl, Sarah.
We call her our special girl, but she's really like our angel, right? Like she just really came through for us in so many ways.
Yeah.
And one of those ways is coming in and picking up a lot of the things that we're unable to sell at that time. And maybe we can put her information below. You can still get some of our materials that she still has.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
And I will say this, guys, with all of this moving stuff, don't do it yourself. Like if you have people to help you with that, whatever friends you have, whatever family you have, if they are willing to help, it's always good to have an extra hand, trust me.
And not only will they help you with the physical labor, but they'll also kind of, they may have ideas, things you didn't think about, like she and I are thinking about so many things, including baby Tosha here. We'll catch you up. There's another episode with talking about our travel, and there's another episode talking about our 14-day quarantine. But if you look around, I think we'll have to give you a little tour. She's really good at that. We'll give you a little cribs tour of our new spot in Dinella, which is another suburb in Perth, Australia. So excited to show you guys where we are now.
Just some tips. Just remember when you are planning to move across to another part of the world, it's not just as simple as getting the cheapest container. Just make sure you call a bunch of places, make sure that you decide whether it is more cost effective to separate the movers from your containers. Remember that customs and quarantine and all of that is all costly and it's all going to add up. So make sure you ask all the questions in the world so that you don't get surprised.
Because we're still getting surprised.
Yeah.
So do your research is what I would say. Find a company, ask them anything and everything that comes to mind. It's their job. Put them to work to answer all your questions so that you feel comfortable.
Or if you are people that care more about what you spend your monies on, etc., like us, then yeah, like G said, do your research. But this is the information that we can help you with, so click down there. And if you have any questions, please leave your comments.
And we'll do our best to answer. She's so cute. Bye, guys. Oh, I forgot one thing. Don't forget to subscribe.
Subscribe.
I always forget to ask people to do that, but I don't want you to miss out on all the cool things we're doing. We're figuring this out on the way, and we might as well, show you how it's done so you don't have to mess up like we did.
Right.
All right. Much love, guys. Peace.